Hello. This podcast is not for children. It is a podcast in which four friends get together and they read each other the lyrics to Cardi B's Bodak Yellow. I'll start. Said little bitch, you can't fuck with me if you wanted to. These expensive, these is red bottoms, these is bloody shoes. No, in fact, it is not that. It is where four friends get together and we try to amaze and astonish each other with facts about the world or how we found out those facts about the world enough that someone else on the podcast will say,
Holy fucking science.
I'm Hank. Next to me is Olivia Gordon. Hi, Olivia. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Hank?
Good. How's the bugs?
Bugs are good, I hope.
Oh,
I don't
you haven't been
work
around there anymore much?
Nope.
I don't know.
Me neither.
Yeah. All the bugs around my house seem fine.
That's good.
Got a lot of daddy long legs happening. It's that time of year.
Lucky, yeah. They're holing up. Yeah, Stefan just showed me a cool spider outside the door. Out here.
What was it?
Just a house spider. It was a boy, I can tell you that.
It was a male house spider.
But Stefan said the biggest spider he's ever seen in Montana. And it was big. I will confirm that.
Can you definitely tell the difference between a house spider and a hobo?
Yes.
Can I?
If you look closely enough and know how to identify them, sure.
I'm worried about that first part. Looking closely enough.
Yeah.
I feel like if it might be a hobo, I'm like, well, I'll look closely enough once it's dead.
Do we have orb weavers in Montana?
Oh, yeah. Tons of different species. An orb weaver essentially is just a spider that builds a web. An orb web. Sorry, I should clarify that.
A certain kind of web.
There's a very big spider living in one of my window wells that...
it upsets you?
Yes.
Send me a picture.
Yeah, send a
Maybe
picture.
I can identify it for you.
We've also got Michael Aranda with us. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Excellent.
How's bringing in the Walmart carts?
What?
Oh, you don't work there anymore, huh?
Did you really used to work at Walmart?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I brought in the Walmart carts.
Okay.
And also we got Sam, who's questioning whether or not I work at a Walmart.
I just wanted to know. It looks like a hard job to bring in the carts.
It was Florida, too. I don't want to toot my own
Oh.
horn, but it was summertime in Florida.
Yeah.
So basically, terrible.
It's sweaty.
Sweaty.
Yeah.
And then I would come in and I would get a Coke and I hid a cup behind the soda machine
Uh-huh.
and I would just like refill my soda cup.
Okay.
And my manager caught me and he was like, "You're stealing soda from the company." And I was like, "It's 90,000 degrees outside." Don't really? And he's like, "You can have water." And I was like, "I mean, you're terrible. You're a bad man." Anyway.
Okay.
You ever work at Walmart?
No. Nope.
What was your worst job, Sam?
My worst job?
Yeah.
I've had all pretty good jobs, I feel
You're
like.
such a happy man.
They're not, I don't know. I was a wine delivery guy, which was hard, but everybody really was nice to you because they were like, people would pass you in the grocery store and be like, "Oh, why don't you deliver some of that to my car?" Like every day, which is like a nice thing to say, I suppose. What else was I? Worked in an archives in high school for a long time. And that was good. That's about it. Oh, I worked at Starbucks. That sucked.
There it is.
That was fucking awful.
Yeah, retail.
But the manager was my best friend, so we didn't have to do anything. And I always got to work the night shifts when nobody would come in. But sometimes they would schedule me for like lunch rush. And it was just rude people. It was like a rich neighborhood in Chicago.
Oh, I was like, where on earth did you work at Starbucks in Missoula? But no, it was
No.
Chicago.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense now.
Yep.
Olivia brought us the topic this week. It is
Mutants.
mutants. So we've all got various mutants in our laps right now. Sam. Oh, yeah.
do.
It's on your lap. Your
There's
little
my
phone
mutant.
thing. Olivia is in wonderful but cryptic handwriting. It looks like Da Vinci's notebook over there.
Yep. Full of words.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very pretty.
Well, thank
There
you.
seems to be a lot going on.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to finding out. Usually we decide who goes first by some method, but I did not come up with anything related to mutations. Because I got nothing. Literally just nothing. I don't know.
Who has the most Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys? I've just sabotaged myself for sure.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot and zero. I feel like
You can't possibly have zero.
I own 0.
I own
Zero.
zero.
Well, I don't think you two would own them.
No,
But you.
I don't think I own any TMNT toys.
Oh.
I mean, I have
Well, let's do a
previously in
different
my life.
Let's do a
Have
different
have
one.
either of you ever owned a Ninja Turtle?
No.
Oh,
What?
totally. I
Okay.
dressed up as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for Halloween.
All 4 of them?
Well, no, but different ones, multiple years when I was a kid.
So you didn't have a favorite. You were like, I'm going to be all
Mm-mm.
of you boys.
Basically, my brother would be one, and then I would be that one the next year.
Mhm, mhm.
You never owned one single one?
Mm-mm.
Did you have any
I
toys?
did own the VHS of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze.
Okay.
Okay.
Not a toy.
No.
Did you own any toys?
Michael Aranda's never seen a toy.
Have you seen a toy?
Yeah,
some back
there's
there.
some back there.
Oh.
I had like Legos.
Yeah,
That was
like
basically-
Legos is the good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so
Or
you got the
Lego. It's not
most
plural.
recently owned a Teenage Mutant Ninja
I have
Turtle toy.
literally dozens.
Probably followed by Olivia, just because I'm much older than you and stopped owning Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was, the normal age.
Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Some of mine are left over from when I was a kid. I just didn't throw them away.
Some of them.
Yeah. No.
So I guess Sam's gonna go first, followed by Olivia, followed by me, followed by Michael.
I don't want to.
You did it. It was your idea.
Well, lucky thing.
Yeah.
My topic is pretty similar
Is
to
it
the
about-
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, is it about mutant
Turtles.
hermit crabs?
No. Oh, I have some hot hermit crab news, but I can't talk about it. We have to find a new subject that is hermit crab related. Ooh, I know what it was, but we'll talk about that later. More hermit crab news
Wow.
coming up.
Hot
Stay
hermit-
tuned. Yeah.
What?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll know
Sam's
when
really
you
into
know.
hermit crabs.
I'm not. I just accidentally find a bunch of info about them. And for some reason, my brain retains hermit crab information way easier than anything else. I don't want a hermit crab. They're just cute. Yeah. Well, hundreds, maybe. That would eat.
I don't
when
want a
die.
hermit crab. Hundreds, maybe. Let me just re-say the thing you just said so we all know how much you love hermit crabs,
don't.
obviously.
I feel totally indifferent to them. But if that's my character trait, then I'll accept it.
Okay.
Anyway, so my subject is
Mhm.
sort of like how we could get closest to making a real life Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle for real.
So, like, I just fuck a turtle, right?
That's it. That's what I have on my notes. Hank specifically fucks a turtle and names it. What's another painter that isn't one of the ones that's already one of the names?
Leon Battista Alberti.
That's beautiful. Alberte?
Mm.
Yeah, great. Okay. So, mine's in list form, as my subjects usually are, because I don't have enough of an attention span to study one thing at a time. So, the first one is the intelligence and speech of a Ninja Turtle. We are all familiar with the Ninja Turtles, right? In general.
We're going to go deep.
So, this is not a turtle necessarily. This is non-specific animal until I get to the end, and then I'll reveal what I think would be the best Ninja Turtle type of creature for real life. So,
Is it hermit crabs?
no, it's definitely not hermit crabs. It's not hermit crabs. So, all right. The first part is intelligence and speech, and to make an animal more intelligent and possibly end up learning speech, maybe someday, there is a gene called FOXP2. Have you ever heard of this gene
Mm-mm.
before? It is a gene that speeds up conscious associations in the human brain, and scientists think that it is what lets humans allows people to perform routine actions without much thought. So it's
Mm.
like when you go into autopilot and you drive your car down the highway, you're
Yeah.
using FOXP2 created pathways to do that. And I guess a lot of animals don't have that.
Hmm.
So,
Does that include like walking?
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. More complicated habitual tasks.
Yeah. All the examples were like driving your car, learning karate, probably.
Muscle memory.
Yeah, learning
Mhm.
sports and stuff.
Putting the toilet seat down every time.
That one's a tough one. For
Mhm.
some people in our office, it's a very tough one.
Well, it's an office. I feel like it's 50-50 guy girl. So it's not like,
My house is too, but come on.
right. But your house is 50-50 guy girl, but like you have a relationship to maintain there. Whereas here, there might be some other guy that comes into the toilet, and that guy's got to touch the toilet seat to put it up,
Yeah.
or the girl has to touch the toilet seat to put it down.
Oh, I guess
so
that's
it's
kind of
even
fair.
for me.
Yeah, that's true. But there are more human waste disposal methods that you need to be sitting down for.
It's true. It's true. You're more likely to sit
So,
down,
It's kind of a wash, I feel
especially because I don't like to I don't like to be standing anyway. I'm just
Oh,
not a fan
really?
of up.
Oh.
I much prefer down.
I think that's a dad trait, probably. My dad is not, my
I'm
dad's
very
not a fan of
tired.
it either. Because then you can sit in there and read a book for a while or something.
Yeah, we gotta get my Twitter reading in.
Until
Anyway,
somebody yells at you.
we gotta
Okay.
figure out how to make a Ninja Turtle.
So when scientists implanted FOXP2 genes or something into mice, the mice learned the maze quicker than mice that did not have this. So also they think it is what helps us get speech for some reason, maybe just because other animals don't have it. So that was like a process of elimination type of thing. But it's what helps us associate seeing like a light and your head says that's a light so quickly instead of looking at it like a weird animal would, I guess,
Right.
and trying to figure out what the heck it is.
Yeah, those
So-
weird animals.
Yeah, they don't know anything. So we need FOXP2 in this animal's brain. Then, for its ninjutsu and human-like strength and abilities, you would need one of those double-muscled animals. You know those double-muscled
yeah, like
animals?
the cow that's just like 2 cows worth of muscles.
Yeah, so those are like a natural thing that kind of set us down the path to figuring out how to make double muscle animals. And there's double muscle kangaroos that occur naturally too. And that's sort of what put me on the path to this, is that there's these terrifying kangaroos that basically just look like human beings. And they're super strong. I mean, they're double muscle, so they're like double strength also. And there's videos of them like crushing things. Or there's one really creepy one of one outside of a person's house slamming on the window in the middle of the night. So I was gonna just talk about those. But
Can you tell me more about double-muscled animals, or just we can do a whole podcast on them, because I'm looking at pictures and it is not okay.
they're really scary. Yeah.
They're terrifying. As an aside, since we were just in Australia for VidCon, I saw a kangaroo right in front of me for the first time in my
One of the
life.
cute ones or one of the big buff scary
It
ones?
was not a big scary one. It was
Okay.
like part of a park where humans are all the time, and they have little stations where you can like buy food for the kangaroos and hand feed them, so they're like super docile.
Yeah.
But kangaroos are just so bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
Hopping is so weird, and they make it look so efficient.
Uh-huh.
I
Well, it
can't
is
get over
efficient.
it.
They just got rubber bands in their legs.
Yeah, I guess. But like, they'll be right here, and then in 5 seconds, they're just like off in the forest.
Boing.
Yeah.
I didn't see any
fast.
kangaroos while I was in Australia.
Neither did anybody else I asked about it.
I road tripped from Melbourne up to Sydney afterwards.
Somebody brought kangaroo jerky.
I
didn't
wanted
get
to
to have
try
any of
some.
it.
Yeah,
We're
at least
getting
somebody
really off
ate some
topic. My
kangaroos. That's
apologies.
good.
So you kind of saw kangaroo if you looked at the jerky. So double muscle animals.
So we need
are-
double-muscled turtles.
Yeah. Well, turtles ain't gonna work no matter what. I'll get to that in a second. The double muscle is called by is caused by a mutation in the gene that produces myostatin, and myostatin is a chemical that suppresses muscle growth. So if you turn off the myostatin production in your body, you just grow muscles, and it's kind of bad for your heart and bad for your bones for some reason. It leaches some minerals and stuff from your bones to get double muscle, but you are double strong. Like you said, there's a couple types of cow that naturally have double muscle. I can't remember what they're called right now, but I think they're like a Dutch kind of cow. So right now we can reliably make animals double muscle by using CRISPR, which I don't really know what CRISPR is. I just hear the word a lot. But
It's
we
just a
can-
way to get genes into places where they weren't before.
okay, cool. So we can
Quickly.
reliably make, I think, ones that can mate even like non-sterile double muscle
Right,
animals.
sure.
Yeah. So we got that down. So we could make a super strong person or a super strong anything, I guess. We can make a super strong turtle, I think. It
Right.
just wouldn't have a good smart brain.
Okay.
Yeah. So then the last part of it all ties into pig-human hybrids. So
So you're gonna make Teenage Mutant Ninja Pigs.
yeah, you'd have to make like a rock or a Bebop type of thing, like Bebop from Ninja Turtles.
Rocksteady.
Yeah. No, not Rocksteady. He's a rhinoceros.
Oh,
That would be impossible.
Nothing's impossible if you try hard enough.
No, I know. We're going to get there someday. We'll have a bebop and a rock steady. Pig-human hybrids are a thing. Currently, all that kind of study is ineligible for public funding, but scientists hope to be able to grow human organs inside of different kinds of animals so that we'll have more organs, and they're just in animals and not people, which is, I guess, better than harvesting humans for organs. So the most successful chimera that I could find, and a chimera is a combination of two different species together, is a mouse and a rat chimera. And I thought this was pretty cool. They made one that grew a gallbladder that was made of rat cells and mice cells, but rats don't have gallbladders. So I thought that was kind of weird. It somehow the cells knew how to make a gallbladder. So right now we only have pigs that have like 10,000 human cells in them. So that's not really much of anything. And they're just seeing if they're viable in there. And then they're slowly working up to different parts. But so this is how we can make a Ninja Turtle. I think it would have to be a kangaroo. I think it would have to be a double strength kangaroo. We have to pump its brain with all this kind of stuff. The Fox P2. And like hybridize it with a human being.
But why not a pig?
Well, because kangaroos are cooler. They could jump better and they'd be better ninjas, I think.
And they're bipedal, so it's sort of like it'd be hard to get like Bebop up on 2 feet.
Yeah, but
Whereas
actually
a kangaroo's already there.
Pig's pretty much the only thing we found that we can hybridize with human beings. So it'd probably have to be a pig, no matter how boring that is.
Yeah, pigs are definitely more closely related to us than kangaroos.
Yeah, what a shame. I just want a world full of human animals that can do ninja stuff.
I don't.
Why?
Want that. I don't know. Like I like the idea of creating a animal that has intelligence comparable to a human is terrifying to me because then like what are the rights of that organism?
Oh yeah.
What if it's as smart in some ways but not as smart in other ways, and then like how do we feel about it? What if it's more smart than us and then we're like become subjugated by it, and then there's like a whole Planet of the Apes thing.
Yeah. Very similar problem to robots being too smart.
Yeah, I'd rather be subjugated by a robot.
Really?
Than like a super weird double-muscled giraffe.
Oh. I don't know. I could empathize with a giraffe on some level, I think.
I, for one, welcome our super weird double-muscled giraffe overlords.
Yeah. I'd want them to turn me into a double-muscle super giraffe, if possible. Or my children.
Or my children.
Yeah.
I don't want this for my children.
Too bad.
Just be human. Why can't we ever be satisfied? It's good. Thank you for doing all that research on how to destroy the world.
Well, this is the second episode in a row I've talked about destroying the world. One was when I turned into Manteria and gave everyone in the world horrible diseases.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. This one I'm genetically modifying kangaroos. So I'll get there eventually.
All right. Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome.
Holy fucking science.
Yeah.
All right, Olivia.
All right.
Where are you going to take us? I can't imagine anywhere like that.
Possibly just as strange of places. I wanted to talk about mythological creatures.
Oh, so fake
and
news.
One in particular.
Another kind.
So I wanted to talk about the Cyclops, which was first presented in Greek mythology and is described as a giant with one eye. And Cyclops actually means round or circle-eyed.
So it's not just one eye.
It is typically presents as one eye. Yes,
right, but that's not what the word
medial
means.
eye. But Cyclops apparently just means round eye.
Okay.
Fun fact. So there are a lot of different myths that involve Cyclopses and a handful of possibilities of what could have inspired these myths, but I just want to talk about one in particular.
Is it a double muscle kangaroo?
It is not.
Good.
Good
Because
guess,
I just talked
though.
about that.
Good guess.
Don't want to have.
You would have had to
Don't
go
wanna
back
double up on
upstairs and
topics.
research something new.
So there's a plant called white hellebore, which was described by Hippocrates before 400 BC. We're not exactly sure when. And it was used to treat vomiting, cramps, and poor circulation. So Greek women were essentially using it as the first morning sickness drug.
Mm-hmm.
But as with many plants, there is a false hellebore. It's also known as a corn lily, which, was mistaken, I feel like, a lot of times for this true white hellebore.
Mhm.
And false hellebore contains 2 teratogenic toxins. One is called cyclopamine and the other is gervine.
Cyclopamine. What's teratogenic mean?
Teratogenic means it's something that affects an embryo during development,
Okay.
essentially. And so it's thought that potentially these 2 toxins affect the sonic hedgehog gene, which is responsible for cell specialization, specifically the division of the brain into 2 hemispheres and the eye, like eye cells
And this
typically.
is in all organisms.
This is in all vertebrates. I think this gene was actually first described in Drosophila, in fruit flies.
Yeah.
And they called it the hedgehog gene because it like caused them to produce these spikes all over that made them look like a hedgehog, to my understanding, and then identified a similar gene in vertebrates that they call the sonic hedgehog gene. And so if this gene is mutated, it doesn't allow for that separation, and therefore a fetus is presented with one median eye, much like a Cyclops. And so the thought is potentially these women in back in this period of time were accidentally ingesting false hellebore, and there was a spike in fetuses born with cyclopia. And potentially,
is cyclopia a thing that continues to happen sometimes?
It is, yeah. So cyclopia.
In fact, I've just found a picture of a lamb born with just one eye, and it is not something that I want to look at a bunch.
I've seen like hooved animals with one eye.
Yeah, so they're present, or it can be found in mammals, in birds, and in fish. Yeah,
If I Google it, am I going to see humans with this?
Totally.
I don't want to do that.
Can you live through that?
No. So usually there's a lot of deformities in the respiratory system, and so they can't breathe. The oldest surviving Cyclops lived 73 hours, I think, but they're typically miscarried or born stillborn. And they typically have a deformed nose, which they call a proboscis, and essentially it's just the fleshy tissue of the nose without any cartilage or anything, and it's usually presented above the eye instead of below.
Oh.
Huh.
But
this Cyclops goat seems to have survived for a little while at least.
Yeah, and I read an account of someone finding a Cyclops skate, like a fish, and it had lived, they think, a few years.
Like sort of normal.
So the reason I got interested in all of this was because the last time I was in Amsterdam, I went to the Vrolijk, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but the Vrolijk Museum at the Medical Academy there, and they have close to, if not the largest collection of deformities and mutations. I'm talking like hundreds of babies in jars.
Oh my God.
And
it's not just like skeletons, but like preserved.
Like preserved, and it was absolutely amazing. It blew my mind.
Yeah. I used to since having a baby, I have a harder time looking at babies in jars.
That's fair.
Your thing made me think of 2 things. The first, you were talking about the nose being up above instead of below, and that reminded me of a question that I've had for a while about whale anuses, because the tail of a whale came from the fusing of its legs, right? In like if my legs fused together, my anus would be above my tail, like on my back, right? But I assume with whales, the anus is on the belly side.
Couldn't it go either way?
I feel like it's more back than front.
It's kind of like right in the middle, right? Trying to identify where my anus is.
Depends on how I'm laying.
Yeah. But if you're swimming
How
around,
you fuse.
if you're swimming around, I could see how everything would shift that way, maybe.
Especially because weren't their ancestors sort of like coyote-esque?
Well, what
with
happened
4
wasn't that
quadrupeds?
their legs fused together. Is that their legs like shrunk into their body. So they didn't like. It was just like their legs got shorter and shorter and shorter until their feet came out of their spine. And so then you have to ask, like, okay, well, the spine is coming down into the feet. You can't have an anus coming out of your vertebra. You gotta have it go down. What?
The whale said that to themselves.
The whale said to well,
That would be ridiculous.
How will I do this? I don't want to shit out my back.
This isn't working at all. Yeah. Have we?
Gotta have all my soft parts on the and just like shift. To me, like organ soft stuff is a lot easier to shift than bone stuff.
Anyway, the other thing
The
was
body
that
architecture.
the other Cyclops theory that I've heard was when we were at the Field Museum, Bill Stanley was showing us the giant like
The elephant
mastodon skulls,
Mhm.
and how where the trunk plugs into the middle, they have just a big old hole.
Mhm.
So they think maybe people found those in the ground, and it looks like it might be a giant
Mhm.
ocular process.
Well, the first dinosaur bone that was ever found, somebody thought that it might either be a elephant bone because it was found in England. So they thought, I don't know, maybe the Romans drove their war elephants up here. Or he was like, it could be a Roman war elephant or a giant. Those two guesses.
Yeah.
Just because those are a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It's not much crazier than a giant bird that would eat.
yeah. Well, and then they realized it was an iguanodon, and they named that because they thought it looked like an iguana, which it didn't at all.
Sure.
Iguanodons don't look like iguanas. I mean, wow, this horse. I mean, it's interesting because it seems like this. I mean, it doesn't look like this horse lasted for a long time. I would assume that if this horse made it to adulthood, that there'd be an adult picture of this horse, but it looks like it made it for weeks, which makes me think about human Cyclops babies and how long maybe that happened in ancient Greece times. But also, if it just happened, people would be like, well, maybe sometimes they make it. We're gonna put it in a story.
Right.
Scary thing.
Who's to say?
Who's to say? We weren't there. So it's a thing that was probably being triggered by this false hellebore then.
Yes, that's the idea, that it was probably caused by.
So more common then than now.
Exactly.
Don't just eat a plant when you're pregnant.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
and you're in Greece or something.
Anywhere.
Where's this plant coming from? In Greece? Yeah.
Yeah. The pregnancy is weird because they're like, don't eat all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then you read about it and it's like, well, it slightly increases your chances of a bad thing happening. And it's like, well, but like, I love cheese though.
Yeah.
But then they're like, well, if you do it and then something bad happens, you're going to have to feel that way for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So then you just can't eat soft cheese
Then you
for
can-
months.
Then you can again later. I don't think I've eaten soft cheese for months.
Oh,
No big deal.
that's terrible. I feel
I might as well just be pregnant.
I don't know, Sam. I don't want to trust you to get pregnant because I don't know what you'll end up giving birth to now.
Whoa, yeah, you're right. I
Giant
CRISPR'd myself.
Double muscle Cyclops kangaroo.
Yeah. Cyclops would not be any kind of tactical advantage in a ninja.
No, you really want.
You need the depth perception
It's true.
to make your jumps.
Do we have any more questions for Olivia? Or does Olivia have more information for us
No, go for it.
on Cyclops
You're up.
mutations?
Ooh, I have a question.
Okay.
If you had a Cyclops spider, would it have 4 eyes? Would it really though?
It's an excellent question. I cannot answer that.
Okay. Okay.
Considering
I'll
they're
look
not
into it.
vertebrates, I don't think.
Oh,
that
shoot, I
they're
forgot about the
any sort of
vertebrate
sign.
role.
Yep.
What about vertebrate spiders?
Ooh.
Should we try to make some?
You never. It's funny how like vertebrates for the most part just like such a similar body plan from animal to animal,
Yep. Pretty boring.
especially once it gets onto land.
Mhm.
Just like 2 arms, 2 legs,
2
head,
eyes. No more eyes.
spine,
Yeah.
no extra eyes. You only get the 2 eyes ever.
Mm-hmm.
So boring. Insects are like, I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have 85 body segments.
If I live
how,
that long.
How old is the insect body plan versus how old is the mammal body plan?
Well, the insect body plan is much older, but also just more malleable. It seems like
Shorter lifespan? More iteration?
maybe, but I think there's more to it than that. I think it has to do with like how our bodies are more complex and thus have a lot more sort of structure to get to
Mm.
that you sort of can't mess with this stuff down here or everything falls apart.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
By down here, I'm to the audio listeners, I don't know. I wasn't even using good hand gestures.
No.
You know what I mean?
It was kind of
Yeah.
like wafting away an unpleasant smell.
Yeah, like
Or
to-
little bugs.
Or little bugs.
Yeah.
Mm.
in the
Wafting
little
away
bug
the
area.
insects.
Go crazy, little bugs. You can do
Yeah.
whatever you want.
Right. So there's the bug area, and you can change stuff in the bug area, and we still have the bug area. But if you change stuff in the bug area in a human, it just doesn't live.
You get the fly situation.
Right, Jeff Goldblum.
You just get a big fly head. No, the old fly.
The old fly?
Yeah.
Before Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was an old fly.
It's really good.
Oh my gosh.
It's Vincent Price, and his head turns into a big fly head.
It has nothing to do with like a body transferal.
Oh, it's It's the same
okay,
plot,
same system.
but it's good in its own way.
Okay. Thanks. Always more information. So you guys know about? Are you aware of tomatoes?
I've heard of them.
I'm a huge fan of tomatoes, but my whole life I thought I hated them because I had only had the tomatoes that you get at the store. But once you move to Montana, suddenly the store, or maybe this just sort of happened when I moved around the time, like this, like stores started getting new types of tomatoes, and they have these things called heirloom tomatoes that are fucking dope. They're great. They taste like a bunch of like food I've never had before. It has a whole new set of flavors I've never experienced, and I just think they're so good. How do people feel about tomatoes around the table?
Heirloom tomatoes are the only good tomatoes.
Heirloom tomatoes are the only good tomatoes.
I don't know if I've ever had an heirloom tomato.
Well, that's okay. You've never had a soft cheese either.
No, it's just not in the last few months. Maybe I have. Are they like what
They're
you
the
put on
ones
a
that look-
hamburger?
No, they're the ones that look like fucking weirdos.
Oh, no. I've never had one of those.
Yeah.
I don't
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think tomatoes are fine.
Yeah.
I like tomato soup.
These tomatoes are fine, but you've never had an heirloom tomato.
Mm-mm.
Michael,
I
Aranda.
think it depends on the application of the tomato.
Sure.
As a garnish,
Mhm.
sure. I would never eat one just by itself.
Oh, I
Have
hate
you had an
cherry
heirloom tomato,
tomatoes.
though?
I don't think so.
Okay. So, 70 years ago, there was a mutation that in a single tomato plant, and it made all of the tomatoes get ripe at the same time. So all the green tomatoes would go from green to red, and so you could send them all to the store, harvest them all at the same time, and that was just much more convenient for mass-produced agriculture. And they bred that gene into every variety of tomato. It also made the tomatoes more regular. It made them the same color, like that uniform bright red that tomatoes are, and no like specks or stripes or anything like that. And so they bred that gene into all tomatoes, and it was great, and that's what they did. And it turns out that the very gene that affects that simultaneous ripening in the uniform bright red color also decreases the amount of sugar in tomatoes by 25% and decreases the number of carotenoids, which are just a class of chemical that are flavorful things that, they're also found in carrots, which is why they're called carotenoids, decreases those by about 25% as well, which is why when some people were like, wait, I just had this tomato that my grandma grew and it was really, really good. They suddenly were like, we have to go back and look at heirloom tomatoes, and heirloom being like, this is literally seeds that have been passed down from people who are now dead, because this was 70 years ago that this happened. And we if it weren't for those people who are passing the seeds down, we wouldn't have even had those tomatoes anymore. But it turns out that this mutation made tomatoes bad, and no one noticed because it was 70 years ago when people were like, I don't care, I need food.
That's happened with bananas too, right?
Well, bananas is sort of a separate story. But old bananas also tasted good, and current bananas taste okay. But
Right.
old bananas don't exist anymore because they died of a fungal infection,
Oh no.
which is not what you want.
No.
So yeah, heirloom tomatoes taste much better because they don't have this gene, which is also why they are more expensive, because they don't simultaneously ripen, and you have to harvest them multiple times throughout the season.
Okay.
And also they look like weird fucker strangos
Yeah.
because they're from the past and they got
Holy strange of science. You can say fuck.
so I hated tomatoes because they taste like sour water.
Yeah.
And like they're okay on a hamburger, but you're not gonna just like eat a tomato with like cheese on it. But now I'm just like slice me a tomato and put some cheese on it, and that's dinner. They're so good. They're so good. And we fucking ruined them because of mass agriculture and a gene that we were like, oh, this is convenient, but no one was like, oh, give it a taste and see if it's terrible or not.
Well, if we had
Humans.
Twitter back then, everybody would have been like, "This tomato sucks ass."
Right? Yeah. like people didn't have any recourse. It was whatever tomato was at the store.
Yeah.
And we couldn't
It's
be
too
like,
bad.
oh, I feel like tomatoes were better when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Well, who am I going to talk to about it?
Write in my diary.
Yeah.
Dear wife, you've been dead 25 years. Tomatoes are bad now. And then Ken Burns makes a documentary about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. About your diary. Yeah.
The Tomato Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Oh man, if all those things had been digitized and typed out, we could just search all of the old people's letters for the word tomato and see if people were like, "What's up with tomatoes?" It's 1933. Tomatoes suck now. What happened?
There would have been a Google spike in why does my tomatoes taste so bad?
Yeah, but they didn't
Around
have
then?
that.
Damn.
Nowadays, you can't change anything without people being like, 280 characters, I revolt.
Yeah. I guess New Coke was kind of like that. How did people figure out Coke tasted bad all of a sudden? I guess they said this is new Coke. They didn't say this is new tomato.
They didn't just have a tomato.
Yeah.
They weren't just like, this is Coke.
Yeah.
They had a whole campaign about it.
Right.
It'd be really interesting to see, like, how did they launch the new tomatoes?
Yeah.
They probably were just like, this is what's available. Eat
Mhm.
it or not. We don't care.
Yeah.
This is tomatoes. We're not like fighting against all of the other fruits and vegetables. There are only 4.
What are they?
Carrots,
Uh-huh.
tomatoes,
Mm-hmm.
onions,
Potato?
and potatoes.
What about lettuce?
lettuce? Is just leaves.
Okay.
That's
It's
basically
like-
grass, boy.
Yeah, it's a little tree. Okay. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Holy
lucky if
fucking
you-
science.
If
There's
you
only
get,
4.
If you get lucky, you get a
4
beet.
vegetables. Oh, yeah. Candied beet
Or just
with
candied.
molasses on it.
I had a raw beet today.
How was it?
It was fine. I was like, I could totally do this. It's like a carrot.
Eat it like an apple?
It was skinned,
Okay.
so it didn't taste like dirt.
Sure.
Well, it tastes a little like dirt because beets taste a little like dirt.
Yeah.
Australians put a lot of beetroot things on things.
Hmm.
I wasn't a fan.
I love beets.
Hmm.
Do you grow tomatoes?
I do.
Do you grow
Yeah.
the fucking weirdos?
Yeah, totally.
Exclusively fucking
Exclusively fucking
weirdos?
weirdos.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I save the seeds.
And then you grow next to your
And
fucking
then
weirdos.
I go.
Did you
yeah,
inherit your seeds?
Some of them.
Oh,
hmm Yeah.
actual heirlooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are some good seed banks around too you can get in contact with if you are
Mm.
looking for something specific that's hard to find.
I always think it's really fascinating when someone finds seeds from a plant that's been extinct for like
Yeah.
tens of
Mhm.
thousands of years or whatever, and then they grow it again.
Yeah. That doesn't seem like it should be a thing that can happen. Doesn't DNA have a half-life? What are you growing? Is it actually the thing, or are you confused and it's just corn?
I don't know.
It's
Probably.
caveman corn.
I thought it was like little baby corn.
They'd be like huge corn.
Oh no! Because back in the day, like corn was once just grass, like
Mm.
little grass seeds.
In the Flintstones, everything's way bigger.
You got me there, Sam.
Look, I work on SciShow Kids. These are the kind of things I learned.
Oh man, caveman corn.
Well-
Hey, Michael Aranda, tell me about mutations.
Let me tell you a story about a man named George Daly.
Okay.
George Daly works at Children's Hospital Boston.
Oh, he's alive right now.
Yes. And Harvard Medical School. And he does cancer research on mice. He was doing some kind of specific experiment involving a gene called Lin28A. I don't actually know what the original experiment was for. I don't know anything about it except that they were genetically engineering certain mice to turn on this gene. And the way that they would tell the genetically engineered mice apart from the control group is by clipping little holes in the ears of the genetically engineered mice. So he, in this experiment, clips some holes in the ears of these mice and goes on his merry way. And they come back and realize, hey, none of these mice have holes in their ears anymore. Well, okay, that's weird. The backup method of telling mice apart is by clipping the ends of their toes off. So they clip the toes of the genetically engineered mice, go on their merry way, come back, and all of the mice have their toes back. So they had accidentally discovered that they could enable regeneration in mammals by turning on this Lin28A thing. They've discovered that it was unable to regenerate heart tissue, and it would stop working after the mice reached adulthood. So exclusively in, I guess, prepubescent mice. They warn that, as always, when you do a thing in mice, it doesn't translate to humans very easily, especially because in humans, they have not even found a way yet to turn on Lin28A. They can only do it in the mice.
Do we have Lin28A?
The article that I read made it seem like that.
Okay.
It said specifically they don't know how to turn it on in humans. But next, they're like, well, okay, we're going to do some experiments to see if there's a limit to the size of what can be regenerated. Like if you, I don't know, hack off an arm, does the whole arm grow back?
So
Because
they haven't start cutting
they
up
haven't done that
mice.
yet.
When they cut the toes, did they cut to the bone, or did they just snip like the flesh off their tips?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think
That's-
that they cut the top bone off.
Okay.
It's relevant to my interest because I chopped my fingers off with a drone.
Yeah, how's that coming back?
Just a couple days ago, I hadn't thought about it in a while, but then I noticed that I have feeling in the tips of my fingers again. So other than some, like, if I push on my finger, I can feel that there's some scar tissue inside. Otherwise, everything seems fine.
Great news.
Yeah.
Glad to hear about it. You didn't even have to turn on any extra genes.
No.
Didn't have to go
Maybe I
mutate
already
yourself.
have my Lin28A mutation.
Maybe you should get your 23andMe done.
I did
Oh.
years ago.
Oh, well, probably the same now.
Yeah.
Well, I am legit curious. What are you?
Like, as far as where my blood comes from, I'm like 28% Native American.
Okay.
And then the rest is just like a big mutt of everything from Europe.
Yeah, just a bunch of Europe.
Yeah. Apparently I'm slightly more Neanderthal than average.
I'm a little less Neanderthal than average. Anyway, how? So are they going to start cutting these mice up?
That their next step just said that they're planning to see whether it enables the ability to regenerate internal organs, and they don't know the size limit of what
Right.
can be regenerated.
Just chop off the head and see if it grows back.
Well,
Cut the whole body off.
Cut the whole body off.
Yeah.
I think cutting your whole body off is just not getting cut.
Well, their head is not their part of the body.
Oh, okay.
That's wait.
What?
News
He cut
to
my
me.
whole body off.
Yeah.
That's.
That means
I
you
guess
cut.
that's getting your head cut
It's the
off.
opposite of getting your head cut off. It's getting
No,
your
it's
body
the
cut
exact same thing.
off. No, you're so
That's-
wrong.
I'd never really thought about how the phrasing of getting your head cut off
Right.
insinuates that you are still in the body part.
Right. Yes, it does.
Whoa.
So it is. You don't get your head cut off. You get your body cut off.
yeah. Whoa.
Oh, all the people who stuck with us to the end of this episode of Holy Fucking Science had the biggest, greatest Holy Fucking Science moment so far. I have a comment to make, which is that there is a book called Fred Flintstone's Surprising Corn.
Is it really big or really small?
And you don't get to see it. You only get to see the kernels. Because Fred comes home with a bag of kernels of corn. And Wilma's like, where are you going to plant those corns? And Fred says, right in the front yard. There's that bare place where we can't get any grass to grow. That way, I won't have to take any of the grass off to get down to the dirt. Besides, I want to be able to see it growing when I'm out in the morning and come home at night. Here we go, he says.
What?
And then later in the story, because I don't have the whole thing, it turns out, I think, that he has planted the corn in a geyser or some kind of fumarole.
Did he invent popcorn?
Wait for it.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
What's going on here? Who's shooting? The corns are flying all over the place. What's that white stuff? Hollered Fred. I'm not sure, Freddie, my boy, said Barney, but I think you just became the first person in the world to grow popcorn.
Oh, so he didn't invent it.
No, what? No, no, in so many different ways. How does Barney know what popcorn is called?
They already had popcorn.
They didn't. They didn't grow popcorn. He popped kernels.
Listener, they already had popcorn. Fred was very confused, and he's never seen popcorn before. Barney has. He's a more worldly caveman than Fred, and he's seen it already.
But how is he the first person in the world to grow it if it's never existed before?
He's the first person in the world to grow it straight out of the ground from the geyser.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sure. The word grow is bolded, which makes it actually lend some legitimacy to your comment there.
Everything I say is true and legitimate. Just that nobody ever believes me until it's too late.
Right, like giant caveman.
What is an example of someone not believing you until it's too late?
Until their whole body gets cut off.
Yeah. I guess until
because I was ready to say like, oh, if I'm getting my whole body cut off, I'm not actually getting anything cut off. I'm still whole. But you're saying no. There's a line between me and my body, and that's at my neck, which I don't actually agree with. I think the line between me and my body is much more difficult to tease out and weird.
But you agree with it slightly more than you did.
I did.
Before I started talking about
now
it.
If somebody says they're going to cut my whole body off, I will think
away.
Twice before I say, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Any other examples?
No, I have none.
Yeah, I mean, don't get a hermit crab. Did
Why?
you have hermit crab news for us?
I can't tell you what it is because it's a whole episode.
You said
baby.
Stay tuned.
Oh, stay tuned for a new episode.
Oh my God.
What is the topic of this episode going to be?
Can I say?
Well, no, you could just like the
symbiosis.
Symbiosis.
Yes.
So you've got future hermit crab news for a future episode of
about
HFS.
symbiosis. They're so beautiful too.
I'm going to be sad if I don't get to experience this news now that you've buttered me up for
Well,
it.
the good news is it is a podcast,
Yeah,
so you can listen to it.
I
want to
watch it
on
live.
YouTube. Yeah. It's available on YouTube. It's also sponsored by Big Sky Brewery, makers of Moose Drool Brown Ale, which is available in lots of different places. Their other beers are available in fewer places, but in lots of places as well, like Trout Slayer, which is delicious. And what else do we got there? Scapegoat, Pale Ale. Yes. How have you enjoyed your beer, Olivia?
It's great. It's making me have to pee.
Oh, me too. It also makes me say things like caveman corn is giant. I don't know that that's true.
I mean, it's a really big bag of kernels. I don't know where he got them. But
I bet he traded them for something like a Jack and the Beanstalk type of
maybe.
situation.
I don't know. I don't know what he did to get these popcorn kernels. What's that white stuff? Hollered Fred.
What is
He looks so concerned.
Do you read books to
my child Oren?
Yes.
Yes.
That's his name.
Yes.
What's his favorite book?
I think his favorite book is probably If Animals Kissed Like We Kiss Goodnight.
That sounds like a really good book.
It's a really good book. It's about if animals kissed like we kiss goodnight.
Does it cover crabs?
Oh.
No, there's no crabs.
Okay.
No hermit crabs. The story mostly revolves around a sloth and a sloth baby kissing goodnight, and that just takes a very long time.
That's so beautiful.
It's pretty cute, and there's a number of chances for him to sort of get involved.
Oh, with smooches? Oh my God.
Yeah, because the monkeys smack their lips, and he's like, it's very cute.
Well, I was gonna say you should read them. You should read them this book.
I don't know. I have to get a copy of Fred Flintstone's Surprising Corn. I don't know where it's available. It's probably out of print. Oh man, yeah, you can see it on the front cover. He gets hit right in the eyeball with one of those corns, but they're not popped. I'm so confused.
There's a regular kernel coming out of the geyser?
It's just a kernel coming out of, I think it's coming out of a geyser.
A kid's going to know right away that the cover lied to him. Like when you read a comic book and it's not the same thing inside.
Not real. It's not real. Yeah. All right, everybody. This has had a really interesting end. Thanks to Fred Flintstone
And Barney.
and Barney for experimenting and creating popped corn,
Popped corn.
or growing the
Oh,
first
yeah.
popped corn.
Maybe
Not sure which was.
Barney was tipping his hand that he's a time traveler, and he was like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I mean, what's this?" On the next page that you don't see.
Seems super. Yeah, it seems like the more likely.
It's my fan fiction for Fred Flintstone surprising corn.
You should probably just re-edit all of the Flintstones into time traveler, like make it so that Barney's a time traveler.
Well, yeah.
I'd pay you like $500 to do that.
You already got what? Every episode though?
No, one time.
Oh, I'm on it. There's already the Great Gazoo though, which is basically the same concept.
But like not edited from found footage.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Okay. It's good. I mean, it's nice to have a spare $500 to just be able to like make that happen. That's the whole point of my life thus far.
Whoa.
is to be able to pay Sam Hermit Crab Man Schultz to re-edit.
It's a whole lot of hermit crab money.
It's good. We got to start saving up for our hermit crab farm. All right, you guys. Thanks for.
You could build us a hermit crab farm right now if you wanted to. You mean I have to start saving up for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Fine.
Thanks everybody for coming and sharing your stories of mutants.
This episode should have ended 15 minutes
No,
ago.
it's been so good. There was that whole weird Fred Flintstone thing. This episode, sound engineered by Stefan Chin, filmed and directed by Caitlin Hofmeister. I am Hank Green.
I'm Olivia Gordon.
I'm Sam Schultz.
I am Michael Aranda.
And this has been Holy Fucking Science.
Science.